Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hi, Morgan. Well, I think it's still morning, so good morning. Thanks. It looks like someone's still trying to connect to audio. We're going to be a small group this morning, but we'll give it just another minute or two to see if anyone else hops in here and make sure everyone gets connected. Thanks for being here. Hi, Sarah. All right, well, good morning again. It looks like everyone's connected to audio, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I am recording. I hope that's okay with everyone. You are welcome if you'd rather not to be seen on the camera. You are welcome to leave your camera off, although we're going to start with introductions. So if you're able to come on screen and introduce yourself, that would be great. If you're not in a place where you can do that, you're welcome to introduce yourself in the chat as well. But I'll start. My name is Kim Baldwin. I'm the director of the Next Generation Service Corps here at ASU, and really happy to be spending some time with you this morning. I think, as you all know, because you received the original invitation, we hosted a live in-person version of this session a couple of weeks ago. And so we're grateful that you were able, even if you weren't able to join us in person, that you're able to join us virtually. And hopefully this session will provide everything you've ever wanted to know about the NGSC, and also provide us some time to answer any questions specific that you might have. So before we dive in, if we could, I'd love for you guys to introduce yourself. What we find and what we build into the in-person session is time for each of our partners to network with each other as well. So really great folks in the community that we work with. And so we love providing space for you to get to know each other as well. So maybe some connections could happen after this time between you all. So Morgan, you are first on my screens and your camera's on. So I'm gonna ask if you could first introduce yourself and maybe just for everyone's sake, tell us who you are, your role, the organization that you are representing today, and then what, if any, experience you've had with the NGSC or our students?
Yeah, happy to. Awesome. Well, thanks for hosting this today. My name is Morgan. I work at St. Vincent de Paul in the Community Engagement Department. So my primary role is working with our college partners and helping run our internship and fellowship programs. And yeah, I get the chance to work very closely with ASU, and we've had experience with different NGSC students in the past with interns and volunteers and all of that as well. So we've engaged students throughout the past many years. So we're grateful for the partnership and love all the students that come our way through NGSC. So thanks for having me today.
Great. Thank you, Morgan. All right. And Ron.
Hello, Kimberly. It's great to meet you all. And so as I learn more about Next Generation Service Corps, I'm very excited to hear how we can, continue to partner with ASU. My role at Mayo Clinic is within HR, workforce development, and I serve in the space of really trying to introduce college students as well as high school students to opportunities at Mayo Clinic. And so it'll be great to hear how we will continue to engage with ASU, but more specifically to Next Generation Service Corps. So thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you, Ron. And yes, good to finally meet you.
Yes, you as well.
Is it Jamie? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
It's Jaime, actually.
Jaime, okay. Thank you.
Hey guys, like I just said, my name is Jaime Munoz. I am the managing director over at Cahoots Co-working. We are the first ones in Phoenix to start co-working. We've been around now for 14 years, female founded and minority owned, which is awesome for us. And our goal is to be the welcome mat to help small businesses grow their business. We partnered with ASU for NGSC for the past 2 years. Looking forward to the third year.
Great. Thank you, Jaime. And Sarah, if you're able.
Yeah, hi. My name is Sarah Copeland, and I'm the volunteer coordinator at Andre House of Hospitality. So, hello to our St. Vincent de Paul, our rivals. No, I don't know, friends, we're partners, right? Yeah, so I've just been in this role for a little over 7 months. So I just basically make sure that we got volunteers coming in the door to serve our guests here, and keep them happy and keep them coming back if, they're willing. And so I also do some outreach, and make awareness about the homelessness that happens here in Phoenix, with some of my colleagues here. So I'm very interested in, making some connections and just learning about the Next Generation Service Corps at ASU. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sarah. Glad to have you. And George.
Good morning, everyone. My name is George Diaz. I work for the Secretary of State's office. I've had two folks from the Next Generation Service Corps, both as legislative interns here in the office.
Fantastic. Thank you, George. Thanks for being here. Well, I'm really glad to start with introductions of you all, because as you can see, I mean, this is what we're really lucky to work with really incredible partners throughout the community and doing really amazing work that we're both grateful for. And we're also grateful for you welcoming our students and your interest in working with our students. It's a huge part of their formation as the type of leaders that I'm going to be talking about in this presentation. So grateful for you for being here and for the work that you do with our students. A couple things about how we can run this as a virtual session. If questions come up as I'm presenting, please, you can drop them in the chat or hang on to them and I'll address them, as we go, or certainly at the end. There will be time, we probably won't go the full hour. There will be time at the end where you're welcome to just come off mute and ask questions as well. So either way works for me. There's a lot to our program, so I'm gonna just kind of scratch the surface on all of it. And then again, ask questions, but you're also welcome at the end. I'll provide my contact info. I've also been emailing you, so you know how to find me. I'm happy to schedule a follow-up, we call them discovery calls, with you, particularly to talk about your needs with your organization and what might be the best fit if you're interested in that. So just know, while I may not go as deeply on all of these different areas as would be helpful to you, I'm happy to have a follow-up conversation with you. So we are the Next Generation Service Corps. At ASU, we are part of the Public Service Academy, which I'm going to explain. And sometimes you hear those names used interchangeably, but we are, and I'll explain kind of the difference between those. This is our staff team. And so you may have interacted with different folks on our team. As I said, I'm the director of the Next Generation Service Corps. Cindy Parnell is the Chief of Public Service within Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions. And then we have a staff team that supports different areas of our students' experience. And I'm the only one joining you today, but they're all fantastic. So depending on which ways you engage with our students, you might be interacting with these different staff members, but I'm kind of your main point of entry, if you will, and I'll connect you with the appropriate people as needed. So the Public Service Academy, this is kind of the umbrella under which the Next Generation Service Corps falls. And we are approaching our 10-year anniversary, which is really exciting for us. This program, the Next Generation Service Corps, but more specifically the Public Service Academy, developed out of a directive from President Crow and his office. And he actually endowed the executive director, Chief of Public Service role that Cindy Parnell serves in. So he really believes in this work. And the idea was that It was responding to the great need in our nation to really inspire folks, young people, to give back through public service. So it was, in the early days, kind of designed to be likened to our military academies, but for civilians, right? So for people who wanted to give back through public service, but not necessarily through military service, although there's a lot that we try to learn, and our focus really is on this cross-sector approach and how we can work together and collaborate. So that's the umbrella of the Public Service Academy. And then the Next Generation Service Corps is kind of the primary and largest program under that umbrella. And our focus is on undergraduate leadership development. And again, that focus on cross-sector collaboration, which you're going to be hearing more about as we move through this. Our students, and I'll talk about them throughout the presentation, but they are very diverse in terms of their interests and their backgrounds and their experiences. But what I love to share is that what draws them together and what is kind of the common bond or tie between them is their passion for the community and their commitment to solving these complex issues. They care deeply and they want to work towards impacting positive, sustainable change. And so that's what unites them, despite the fact that they are studying all different things and coming from different backgrounds and going into different fields. That is the one thing that brings them together. So we like to kind of situate ourselves here. If you have any experience with ASU, I'm sure you've heard of the ASU Charter, which really guides the university, but all of our work as well. And we really view the Next Generation Service Corps as living out that charter, or trying to live out that charter. And then we also place on here our Watts College vision as well, because while we serve students from across the university, we are technically placed within Watts College of Community Service, and our students receive, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but they receive an academic certificate through Watts College. So they are all considered Watts College, even though they have majors through different colleges across the university. So what are we at our core? We are an undergraduate leadership development program that forms character-driven cross-sector leaders who are committed to addressing complex social issues. And that really is what we're about and what we do. And there's lots of different ways that we go about this, but at the end of the day, that is what we're trying to do. We are trying to build character-driven cross-sector leaders who, when they're here as undergrads, but certainly when they leave ASU, that no matter what space they find themselves in, that they are working towards these long-term sustainable solutions to complex social issues. And so the components of our program can fall under 3 buckets, and these are them. There's coursework that's part of our students' experience, there's internships, and there's a big bucket of experiential learning that makes up a lot of different pieces. There are ways for community partners to engage with our students in all of these spaces, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So if you have your phone, and if you're able to do this, you could open up your phone app. There's 3 questions that I've kind of thrown into this presentation, if you're willing to just share a little bit of information with us. I don't know if you've done an online poll like this before, but in a moment, if you use your phone app to open up this QR code, it should take you to a question. And I'll go to the next slide in a second once everyone's in. And this is, you don't have to put a ton of thought into this. I just would welcome your feedback. You all have experience working with students, even if not our students. I'm sure you've worked with other undergraduate students. So curious, as a community partner, from your experience, what has been the most challenging aspect of working with college students? Those questions are out of order. Sorry about that. Okay. You'll get that question in a little bit. So our students, I want to just take a few minutes to help you understand who our students are. So we have currently in the program 459 students, undergraduate students. You can see some of the stats on them right here. We have a couple of different tracks in the program. So we admit first-time freshmen who are coming to ASU for the very first time and who are committed to the NGSC, and we are committed to them for 4 years or 8 semesters of their experience. And then we also have a 2-year transfer track. So students who are transferring in from Arizona community colleges who are committed for 4 semesters or 2 years. And I say we are committed to them because students apply to enter the NGSC, and if they are accepted and earn a spot in the program, ASU commits to funding their base tuition for the time that they're in the program. So this isn't just a 1 semester experience or a 1 year experience. Students are part of the NGSC for their entire undergraduate experience, and all of the different components of our program builds over the course of those 2 or 4 years that they're in the NGSC, and they continue to receive that scholarship for their time in the program. So again, this just gives you a sense. What's really exciting is to know our students represent over 150 different majors on campus. So again, what unites them is their concern and their passion for the community, even though they represent these really diverse interests and skill sets. So when we talk with future employers or community partners, it's what's really unique about the NGSC is we have students who are majors doing all different things. So if you're looking for someone that's really good at data, we have students that that's their skill set and their interests. We have students who are marketing students. We have students who are pre-med students. We have students who are public policy students. So they really, depending on what the needs are of your organization, there's a very good chance that we have students who are not only interested in that, but who that is their field of study. So what are some different ways that you can, as a community partner, engage with our students? And again, these touch on those different buckets of our students' experiences. And I'll talk about each of these in a little bit more detail. So first, hosting interns. All of our students as part of the NGSC are required to complete 3 internships over the course of their time in the program, 1 in each of the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. These are non-credit-bearing internships, so that's important. If you've hosted credit-bearing interns before, there's a lot of regulations around that, and ours are non-credit-bearing, which offers a little bit more flexibility. So the minimum number of hours that we would expect, and this is low, is 70 hours. Most students complete around 120, up to 200 or 300 hours for their internships. But because, again, they aren't credit-bearing, it really can meet whatever the needs are of your organization. So it doesn't have to follow the 16-week calendar of an academic semester. It could start in the summer and wrap up at Thanksgiving, or whatever it is that you need for your organization. So all of our students, again, expected to complete 3 internships. So this is a really key way, really concrete way for students to engage with your organization. And even if you haven't hosted interns before, but are wanting to try that out and kind of dip your toes in it, we're able to help you kind of develop that and work through that. And there's 2 different ways to go about this. ASU has an online platform called Handshake, which if you've hosted interns, you're probably really aware of this. And that's one way we can do it. You can continue to use Handshake as your platform. ASU vets all internships that are posted on Handshake, and then we can share those opportunities specifically with our students. Or you can create internships that are not necessarily hosted on Handshake, and we can share them with our students. We work with a lot of organizations who come to love working with our students, and so we are happy to put forward opportunities specifically for you, just to our pool of 400 students, and then help to make those connections. One important thing to understand is we don't place students in internships. So we really put the responsibility on our students to do the work of securing internships. So while these internships are required, they are the ones who have to find the internships, apply for the internships, interview, and ultimately secure and complete the internships. We just offer resources and support along the way. Another really wonderful opportunity to connect with our students is through what we call our mission teams. And these are teams of students that are centered around the social issue that students are most passionate about. So as I said, we have over 400 students. They're coming from 150 different majors, and they are all passionate about the community, but their passions vary just as they do. So we have 30 different mission teams that are focused on different complex issues. So just about any that you could identify. We have a homelessness mission team. We have a human trafficking mission team, veterans issues, climate change. So all these different complex social issues, our students self-select into those teams. They are led by one of their peers, and they spend the year with structure and guidance from us, engaging with community partners, learning more about their issues. We remind them often that they are not yet experts and that they need to be in conversation with experts and with people who are working with those who are directly impacted by the issue to better understand it. They need to be completing service related to it. And then ultimately, through all that learning, some need should surface that they as a team decide to respond to. And so they take some action in response to this identified need in the community. This is a really fun way, especially if your organization is focused on one of those particular social issues that aligns with one of our mission teams. We look for strong community partners for the teams to work with. And really kind of come alongside, and maybe they're volunteering at an event you're hosting. Maybe someone from your team is coming and speaking with them and helping them better understand the issue or the system in which the issue exists. And then ultimately they're taking some action to support your organization in the work that you're doing. Another opportunity is to teach workshops. We have events throughout the year, and we love our community partners who come and spend time with our students and share your experience and your expertise with them. And this is anything, it could be around social action, it could be related to one of those particular complex issues, or it could be general professional development. For example, one key event that we host every year is our NGSC Leadership Conference. It's always in February. This year it will be held on Saturday, February 8th. And it's an all-day professional development conference for our students only. So we have over 400 students attend, as well as we have now expanded to other universities around the country. And so we bring delegations from the other universities as well. So we have students coming from other states and joining us at our conference. And last year we had over 65 community partners who were joining us on that day. So hosting breakout sessions, doing mock interviews with our students. Some were serving as keynote presenters. So there's lots of different ways to engage. Even if all you actually want to do is just table and recruit and share about your organization, that's a possibility as well. Saturday, February 8th. And then aside from the NGSC Leadership Conference, we also have lots of smaller events throughout the year where, again, we would welcome community partners that want to be part of that. Okay. So I think these questions are a little backwards from how they're showing up. So I'm sorry about that. But here, if you go back, let me scoot back. Here we go. I don't think you guys answered this one yet. As a community partner, what has been the greatest benefit of working with college students? Which I realize is not the same question that's on the screen. But if you go back to your phone, this new question should be on there. And I'd appreciate your perspective. Okay, so another great way to engage with our students is through our classes. So as I mentioned earlier, all of our students are required to complete an academic certificate in cross-sector leadership. And this is through the School of Public Affairs in Watts College. These are the classes that are required of our students. And one of them, the one that's highlighted red, our PAF 215 Community Impact Lab, is one specifically where we really work with community partners throughout the whole semester. Each of those classes actually have opportunities for community partners, but I'm going to focus on that one in particular because every semester we are recruiting partners who might be interested in working with our students in this really concrete way. And we're actively right now recruiting partners for our spring semester. So Community Impact Lab is the course where our students are learning about design thinking. And as they learn about design thinking, they try to apply that to a problem that is presented by a real community partner. So partners like you who maybe have a challenge that your team has been working on and either you haven't quite solved it yet, or you would just really appreciate some college students' perspectives on how you could approach that problem. And so this is a really great way to do it. It does require a semester-long commitment from you. There are 3 different dates when someone from your team would be expected to join our students in class. But it's a really fun way, again, to engage with students and to get their perspective on how that problem could be approached and solved. One key thing to understand is that they don't actually execute the solution. So if you were looking for someone to do that, that would have to be after the semester ends and potentially, something that a mission team could take on, or you could hire an intern to help do. But in the context of this class, it really is the design thinking process and coming up with potential solutions for how you could solve the problem, stopping short of actually implementing those solutions. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but again, we have some signature events, the leadership conference being one of them, but we have a couple others as well when we're looking for keynote speakers, both kind of on the big stage or potentially as part of a panel, or in some of those breakouts as well. And then we always love for folks who keep our students in mind in terms of hiring talent. Again, Handshake is a platform that we can utilize, but there's lots of other ways that we can connect you, not only with our current students, but also with our alumni. We now have over 600 alumni in the program. We've graduated 6 cohorts of students, and they are all across the country doing really incredible work. So we love connecting potential employers with our alumni as well. And then sponsorship opportunities, if this is something that your organization is able or interested in, we're always open to conversations about what this could look like, both to meet the needs of your organization and to help support some of the programming that we offer our students. So again, if that's something that you're interested, happy to have a follow-up conversation with you about what that sponsorship could look like and what opportunities that could offer your organization. Okay, this is the final question. This one should align. Let's see. What would improve your experience of working with college students? And we ask this just because this is really important to us. We take responsibility for the fact that we're sending our students out working in the community, and we want to ensure that we're doing that well. So what would improve your experience of working with college students? Okay, thank you. And this is just to highlight one of our community partners who I think is a good example of engaging in lots of different ways. Arizona Financial Credit Union. They have, some of these photos show, but they have presented at our leadership conference. They've held mock interviews for our students. They've hired our interns. They've been a partner for the Community Impact Lab course. So lots of different ways, again, to engage. And I know they would be happy to chat with you about their experience. I didn't invite them to join us. They joined us for the live in-person session, so they're not here today, but I know they'd welcome conversation if you do want to chat with someone, one of our community partners, about the experience they've had with us. And then I mentioned this briefly, but again, we've graduated 6 cohorts, which means we now have over 600 alumni. We were really excited 2 years ago. We established which was not an easy process, but we did it, the ASU's 22nd Special Interest Alumni Chapter. So our alumni have an official chapter. And what we love about our alumni is that they really were the ones who got to decide what the strategic focus would be for the alumni chapter. And they made it very clear. They wanted to continue to align their professional lives post-graduation with the charter and with the values of the NGSC, and they wanted to continue to support and connect with our students. They were really interested in how do we continue to live out what our experience has been and what we've learned in the NGSC in our lives post-graduation. So that's really exciting to us. And again, they're really fantastic to work with. And then this I mentioned briefly as well, but part of the original vision when we were first established 10 years ago, President Crow had always hoped and said from day one that the vision would be that this would not be unique to ASU, but that we would actually expand and grow to other universities around the country. And we're really excited to say that through a partnership with the Volcker Alliance out of New York City, that this work has been expanding. And as of today, and it literally changes by the month, but as of today, we are now at 21 other universities around the country. They obviously are at different stages of development and implementation. None are quite as large as us. We've been at this 10 years, but they have students, and it's really exciting because we're part of this larger national network. So when you're thinking about recruitment or connecting, if your organization is one that is not only here in Arizona, there's potential for connections in other parts of the country as well. I've mentioned this a few times. Can you tell we're excited about our anniversary? We're approaching 10 years. So more to come. We are planning kind of a year-long celebration that will officially kick off in November of this year and wrap up in November of 25 with a big celebratory event. And as community partners, you should receive an invitation to be part of that if you would like. Okay, and then for those of you who might have contact or know of young people who are potentially coming to ASU, whether they're at Arizona community colleges currently, or they are high school students entering their first year of college, both, and I didn't mention this, but we take Arizona resident students, and we also take students from around the country, other states, so non-resident students as well. And these are our application deadlines. So our application is just opening this week. Priority deadline is January 15th. And then we have 2 more deadlines, really space permitting. And so we encourage students to apply early. So we would be grateful. We love when we hear, so students apply through the ASU scholarship portal. And then if they move along, they eventually have an interview with staff and our student ambassadors. And we love hearing when students heard about the NGSC because an adult, someone else, knew them and knew of us and said they would be perfect. You know, the NGSC is such a good fit, and they're usually right. So we love when people who are active in the community share about the NGSC with potential good students who would be who would thrive in what we are able to offer. You may have already be on this mailing list, but if not, we invite you to sign up for our community newsletter. We just send it quarterly. So it's a great way to stay connected with what's going on in the NGSC, to hear student stories, alumni stories, and to be aware of upcoming opportunities. So when we open up folks to sign up to do breakout sessions at our leadership conference, we always put that in the newsletter. So again, just a great way to stay connected. You're welcome to sign up if you haven't yet. And of course, we're on Instagram, which is more the student-focused space. So that's kind of a fun way to stay connected. And then LinkedIn. So we'd love to connect with you in those spaces as well. And finally, thank you for answering those brief questions for me. If you are interested in joining a feedback session where you can dig in a little bit deeper, if you really have some recommendations based on your experience of having students come and work with your organization for better or for worse, you know, if you've had really good experiences or you've had some more challenging experiences and you want to help inform our approach to that work with our students, I'd welcome your feedback. So you're welcome to sign up here if that's something that you're interested in. And if I'm moving too quickly through any of these slides, you can just follow up with me separately via email and I can get you connected. All right, and here is my contact information. Again, you're welcome to email me if you have any questions or if you want to have a follow-up conversation. But at this point, I feel like I covered a lot. I've been talking a lot. If you have questions, you're welcome to just come off mute and ask them. Like I said, it doesn't look like any have been dropped in the chat, but if you have a question and want to drop it in the chat, that's fine too. But just know that we, again, are really grateful for your partnership, your availability, because we know it asks a lot of organizations to support students as they're still learning and growing and working, but we know that our students also have a lot to offer. So we're grateful for the partnership and open to different ways that you think might be a good fit for us to continue to engage. So thank you for being here, and please follow up if you'd like to have another conversation. Right, any questions?
I do have one question. Will you be able to share this slide deck or presentation with us so we have the information?
Sure, yes, happy
Be
to.
great. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Ron. Yeah, I can do both.
thank you.
Sure.
I have a question, but it might be something that we can chat about offline. But I was just curious to learn a little bit more about the mission teams, and kind of like what the process would look like for getting involved with one of those. Like if it's something that we commit to, or more just that maybe the teams are aware that we're a partner that they can work with, or what that process might look like.
So that's actually a really great question, because what's really important to understand about our mission teams is that they are student-led and student-directed. So as I mentioned very briefly, we offer structure and we offer support, but ultimately, much like the internships, our students are the ones who are responsible for making things happen. And that is by design. We really believe that that's like in their best interest, and that's how they learn and how they develop and how they grow. But that means that we are not the ones controlling or managing their relationship with a community partner. So they go through trainings. As I mentioned, each mission team is led by a mission team leader who is one of their peers, who are identified the spring prior and spend all summer going through trainings and preparing for that role. And then each September, we have our mission team kickoff, and that's where the mission team experience officially kicks off for the year. And then it wraps up officially at the mission team showcase, which is in March. So between September and March is really when the bulk of the work of the team is happening, when they would be working most directly or closely with a community partner. And we, much like the internships, do not make those connections. We can help facilitate those connections, but ultimately it's going to be up to the mission team leader and the team to continue fostering that relationship and seeing where it goes. And so as a community partner, that means you don't sign anything. You're not officially committed. It isn't, and this can be frustrating, I'm sure, as a community partner, it isn't clearly laid out like what the expectations are, because a lot of that relationship and what the expectations are is going to be a conversation between the mission team and the partner, and really just based on what your needs are. So we have all different levels of engagement of community partners with mission teams. For example, it could be as simple as you are an expert in people, unhoused people, and the affordable housing crisis that we're experiencing, right? So St. Vincent de Paul has knowledge on that and experience with it. And our homelessness mission team wants to have kind of a subject matter expert come in and just help them understand like what is going on in our local community as it relates to the affordable housing crisis and unhoused people, right? So, so you guys set that up and they plan an event, and someone from St. Vincent de Paul comes and talks with the team or presents or whatever that looks like. And then that's it, right? Like that's done. So maybe it's like a one-off kind of event. Or it could be more involved, right? So maybe that happens, and then through that experience, the mission team learns like, oh, there's these opportunities where we could be volunteering monthly with St. Vincent de Paul, and we want to commit to that as a team just to continue to deepen our understanding of the issue, to work with people who are directly impacted by it. And so they commit to volunteering monthly or bi-monthly or whatever it is with St. Vincent de Paul. And then through that volunteer experience, they realize St. Vincent de Paul really needs water bottles, you know, whatever it is, peanut butter. We're going to commit to taking that on as a team, and we're going to come up with a plan for how we're going to respond to that need that St. Vincent de Paul has identified for us. And so they do that, and they, you know, create this project, and they take that on, and they help you out with whatever that need is. So that would obviously be more involved and have different like layers to it, but none of that would be determined by us. It would be in conversation between the mission team and the community partner. And it's up to the community partner, really. Like, we don't expect you to do anything that isn't beneficial to your organization. We don't want, and they know this too, right? We don't want them to be more of a burden than they are a help. We want it to be a mutually beneficial relationship that really helps and supports and develops our students in their ability to do this kind of work, while at the same time supporting you and what your needs are. And, you know, it should be helpful to both of you. Does that answer? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. We really just love for our students to be around and exposed to people doing really incredible work in the community, because they are passionate, but obviously I'm still learning. So they have a lot to learn. So just being able to work alongside you and watch the way you go about your work. And that's really it with the internships too. Just them having the opportunity to be connected with passionate people who are committed to all these wonderful things that our students want to be, but who are actually out there doing it, means a lot. So, yeah. Any other questions? So Jaime, I know I'm looking at and I can't see it real well, but entrepreneur nerd. Is that what it says?
Yes.
See what it says underneath?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, but one of our classes is social entrepreneurship. So I don't know if is that something through Cahoots, or is that something different?
Yeah, no, so again, so Cahoots was born out of entrepreneurship, trying to help other small businesses. Like 14 years ago, they didn't really have a place to go, and co-working was a thing in other states, but we didn't really know about it. And so we have grown kind of from like an entrepreneur spirit into like a small business mind. Like we do both, and we created a sister company that's called Hub that also focuses and works with entrepreneurs like at hand. And so that's where that comes from. Most people that operate out of our businesses, and then the owners, the founders, are entrepreneurs as well. So it's just a play on the words for us.
Okay, I like it. So even something like that, though, that is like would totally pique the interest of our students. So
Totally.
I could see that being a breakout session at our leadership conference, you know, like something, and you could probably better identify like what that topic or workshop could look like, but I think it'd be really interesting to our students.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, we are like the welcome mat for entrepreneurship. Like we just want to make it easy to where when you're working on your business, all the things that you need, it's like what we focus on, right? So our job is to not help you grow your business, but it takes out the ease of like all the conference rooms, all the like anything that you need for your business, we probably have for you. And then we also have a massive connection as well. So anybody that you're like needing, we could probably put you in the right spot too.
Yeah, very cool. Great. All right. Well, folks, can give you 15 minutes back for lunch, maybe, unless there's any other questions. But again, happy to connect with you all offline. We could have more conversations and figure out a good fit, but just grateful for you being here and for your partnership. So thank you, and hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
again. Bye, guys.
Welcome.